Shalom, giving all praise to my heavenly Father. His name is Yahweh by Shem Yahushua by Shem Karkadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders everywhere. Peace and many salutations that's told them in his truth. Now, this is Van Johnson on your page. He's a Democrat, spokesman, if you will. And, this guy, is a proponent for progressivism, which is Moism is an exclusion of minorities, in different aspects of, American society, basically what they would call wokeism in a nutshell, which we could dive into that later. But this guy, his ideologies, are geared towards that, that part of the American political uh, party. You know what I'm saying? He's will be considered like a leftist opponent for leftist ideologies. And now you got the whole left and the right dichotomy. And this guy, is about feminism and things of that nature. But when it came to the war with Iran and Israel, he was on the side of Israel. Now you would think he would be on leaning towards the sides of Iran, being the wicked things that Israel has done to the Gaza people. But he has the same talking points as someone who will be on the right, and that shows you something. That shows you that that no matter if it's the left or the right political parties, or Republicans or Democratic political parties, they're both pushing the agenda of the beast, which is America, right? Right, which is on a deeper level, America pushes what the wants and desires of the elite of Esau, Edom, right? So-called white people. Okay, so it's not. I don't think it's coincidental that this guy is pushing, the same things that the so-called right is pushing, because it's on the same. It's on this. It's no matter if it's left or right or Republican or Democrat, it's again, it's on the the premises of what Esau Edom, what he wanted to push. Okay, let me get this scripture for you guys. This will better explain, what I'm trying to convey. The scriptures is where it's at. Let me get this in Revelation. Revelation, the 13th chapter, and make it a lot easier to understand. Revelation 13 and around 11. Revelation 13:11. And I beheld another beast coming out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. So that the beast that's coming out of the earth, that's America, and it's following after the ways of Rome, the first beast. Okay, and with this political pacts, it's able to run essentially NATO and EU. These are the same, basically the same kingdom that Rome once possessed, even the tributaries. Okay, right. So it uses these two political parties, or these two horns, to push its agenda. It speaks. This guy Van Johnson, he speaks as if he's about being progressive and about women's right, i.e. women's rights, minority rights, and religious inclusion, but really he's pushing the agenda of the beast, right? Which is NATO and EU. Okay, and he exercises verse 12, and he exercises all the power of the first beast before him, and causes the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And how is Van playing his part? Well, he's pushing basically the Western vibration when it comes to feminism, man. That's a Western concept. And even dating back into ancient times, the Romans would worship women. The Romans would put women in a leadership roles. Okay, it's a very Eurocentric way that this guy is pushing, right? And when it comes to the elite of the Adulians, or the so-called white people, he's doing his job to make sure that people still worship them as, the chosen people, even though he called himself progressive. Okay, let me show you some nasty work from this guy, man. This guy here.
Van, what are your thoughts?
It's This is a speech that he got famous for when Joe Biden was elected as president over Trump. Okay.
Well, it's easier to be a parent this morning. It's easier to be a dad. It's easier to tell your kids character matters. It matters. Telling the truth matters. Being a good person matters. And it's easier for a whole lot of people. If you're Muslim in this country, you don't have to worry if the president doesn't want you here. If you're an immigrant.
Really? That's only if you're in America, though. But now if your ass is in Iran, you got to get the hell out and be converted. All right, to progressivism. Where the hell you say it. So let me get this for you, man. This is God speaking now.
I think everyone should have one of these in their car now.
That's going on in Iran, okay? Let me fast forward this. Let me rewind it, I should say. And now this is according to the majority report with Sam Setter. Okay. Let me check this out for you. Let's check this
U.S. drops bombs. It is as if these bombs are attached to sheets. And it just rips off the cover of so many people in our society. In the first Trump administration, I remember going on, I think it was Hayes' show. And I was on Hayes' show the night that Trump bombed Syria. And it was his first military attack. And every guest, even on Hayes' show at that point, was like, well, this is something that had to happen. And I'm like, wait, what? You trust this guy to start bombing places? Everybody. That's the way they jump on. I think I was the only person on that network between the hours of 8 and midnight who came out against it. And it is the same with this. It is incredibly revealing as to who people are. I don't know if people still have questions about Van Jones, but if you really need an answer, here it is. This is Van Jones 2 days ago on CNN.
He's buying himself some time and some room. I was also in the Holy Land very recently. I think progressives underestimate.
Pause it for a second. He was in the Holy Land very recently?
Who paid for that trip? Is that just your own miles you used to pay for that trip, Van?
Are you in the anti-Holy Land right now? Like, where are you on the spectrum of being in amongst holiness?
Right.
Are you in the profane world at the moment? I mean, how are we talking? How is this news analyst talking about geopolitics? I was in the Holy Land.
Right. This is a Democratic. This is the same guy who's for more rights. Okay. So now all of a sudden he's in the Holy Land. Okay. See, this is hypocrisy of these people, but it shows you that when it's everything's said and done, the same certain narratives are going to be said on both sides of the spectrum. Why is that? Because it ultimately shows you who's ruling. It's Esau Edom's ruling, right? Now, it's different ideologies, but it's all, that are pushed from the Republicans and Democrats, but it's still from a certain hegemon. You know what I'm saying? Which hegemon is cultural dominance, and that hegemon comes from the beasts, right? Or at NATO and EU, or more importantly, Edomite supremacy. Okay, right? So these Democrats are full of shit, just like the Republicans. All right.
He's buying himself some time and some room. I was also in the Holy Land very recently. I think progressives underestimate how dangerous Iran is. Iran is not a normal country. Normal countries don't blind women because they show some hair. They don't empower little gangs and proxies to surround a country and fire rockets and rape people. So
pause it for a second.
The two things are clear.
Pause it for a second. The Iran regime is very oppressive towards women, without a doubt. I don't know what the geopolitical implications of that are. But should we really be talking about proxies and rape and killing? Because I'm old enough to remember death squads that we funded in Central America, ones that killed nuns in Central America. I'm old enough to remember when Ronald Reagan's administration sold weapons to Iran, this same country. They used the money to fund essentially right-wing death squads in Central America. But Van is probably a little younger than I am, so maybe he doesn't know about this. But Iran's completely, they're crazy. They're so crazy that they were willing to play off to their domestic constituencies. If we lob 6 missiles that do nothing against the United States, then it's tit for tat and we're even. Like the restraint that Iran is showing is far more rational than Van Jones going on and think he's fooling anybody with his comments about the Holy Land.
The clip starts, and this was before the strikes, the clip starts with him crediting the 2-week pause as Trump trying to get his distance and have some time. And actually, that was just a ruse to surprise attack.
Empower little gangs and proxies to surround a country and fire rockets and rape people. So Iran, the two things are clear. The what, they cannot have a bomb, and the why, because they say death to America, death to Israel, and death to all the Jews. One of those should offend you if you're progressive. At least one should offend you. And so...
See how he used emotionalism to push agendas? You see what I'm saying? See what they do? Now Israel and Iran, for decades have been fighting amongst each other. Israel has been funding regime change you know, a coup in the 1970s, you know, sanctions have substantially crippled the Iranian government, right? Wars, not to mention wars with one another. They funded a war with Iraq, being on Iraq's side, right? Funded them to go against Iran. So there's a lot of history there, man. There's a lot of history there, right? But the wickedness of uh of this place, Van doesn't bring up. In fact, he condones it. You know, he says, yeah, these people in there need to get bombed. You know, which we don't have a preferred side. You know, both of them have to go down in order for us to rule, right? But right is right and wrong is wrong. You know, the Israelis have been doing a lot of wicked things, you know, in that region. So of course, people are going to fight back, and we know that it's prophet. That's prophetic. If you want to call that the Holy Land, then you should be. You should know that that place has to be taken down, alluding to Ezekiel the 39th chapter, in order for uh, that um, huge war to ensue, right? Certain things have to happen to where it has to be a big war. We shouldn't be siding with somebody who has a history of colonialism, right? And neo-colonialism, right? We siding with wickedness, dog. Isaiah 5:20. Woe to them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. Woe to them that are wise in their own eyes and prudent in their own sight. That's right. So with them being prudent in their own sight, pushing their own agendas, they don't see the will of their Heavenly Father, right? What Van Jones said, that was that was disingenuous, for lack of a better term. We'll keep it PG. But he's full of it, of BS. He's full of BS, man. Right? If you want to call that place holy, then the true holy city, you have to condemn all the things that's going on in that city. It's a hub for PDF files, if you get my drift. Right? People who do these heinous things to children that are of small head descent and that run over there. It's a hub for Moism, one of the biggest parades happen in Tel Aviv. You want to talk about racism, Van? Well, look at all the racism that's going on with the Palestinians, right? With here, people who consider themselves Israelites but are of a darker complexity, right? Are the Ethiopian Jews, right? So that place needs to be taken out of the way, out of the filth that's being done in it. Okay? But a guy like that would say, we know what, well, we have to stand with that place. And that shows you his wickedness, man. Right? That shows you his wickedness. And the Most High is going to destroy that, man. Because it says, woe unto you that call evil good and good evil. Which means destruction. Right? Verse 23. Woe unto them that they might. Woe unto them that are mighty to drink and man of strength to make a strong drink, which is that philosophy, right? Mingling, these new age speech to push ultimately an agenda. Verse 23, which justify the wicked for reward and take away the righteousness of the righteous from him. That's right. Justify the wicked for reward. Yeah, I was just in the hole and had like they said, the crew said. And the majority report, how'd you get over there? You were flown over there and prepped on what to say to justify some wickedness, man. Okay? That's how we know that the whole right and left political parties, they're all controlled ultimately by the elite, right? To push an agenda of Edomite supremacy. And the main Edomites they're trying to protect are the Amalekites over there in the Holy Land, man. Okay? So destruction and coming to a guy like that that's pushing this wickedness, man. All right? Praise, edify, and shalom.